Hello, anyone watching this? My name is Tio or Tarchuga, and this is an interview I did with Bea Jumpup. She's a multimedia artist. She makes cartoons, movies, and music. And yeah, so I got a chance to interview her, and this is the intro I forgot to record in the original interview, so this is what you're hearing now. In this interview, we talked a lot about uh, creating music, using nostalgia to make music, and problems with technology, and good things about technology. And yeah, that's it. So hope you enjoy. It's a pleasure to meet you. Um,
Yeah, the pleasure is all mine. Tartruga.
yeah, it's kind of hard name. I'm sorry.
Tartruga. How do you pronounce that?
Yeah, no, it's that's perfect. It's like
Like,
it's turtle in Portuguese, but written like
uh,
wrong.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That's what I thought. It was like Tortuga. Or,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
um,
Um.
I'm sorry, I'm kind of awkward. Uh,
No,
um,
that's fine.
I'm
It's
just,
usually part of this.
yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. I've been listening to your stuff like a lot recently, and it's kind of amazing to be able to talk to you and ask you stuff.
Oh my god, that's kind of surreal. Like, yeah, that you're excited. I'm chill. I'm
Yeah.
just sitting here with a mug of water.
Yeah. I thought it's also because I never done something like this, so you know.
Yeah.
Uh, but okay. Um, so okay, actually, starting like with the stuff. Um, can you please like introduce yourself and just say whatever you want to say like about your work or what you do, anything really.
Okay, I'm Bea Jumpup. I'm a multimedia artist, musician, animator from South Africa. I I'm primarily known for I guess my 3D CGI work. It's like a mix of that and 2D stuff. Um, I'm very interested in digital artifacts and bright colors, and the ocean and stuff and water. Uh, I started animating very young, and I'm still doing it now.
Um, uh, okay, so I think the thing I've like thought about the most when like writing up the questions for this interview and such is just that like um, I think I don't know. I personally resonate a lot with your work. I think I don't know. I think as the ocean stuff, or I don't know what really like say something for me, and I want to create a lot of like music and art also, but I think that the question I want to ask is what like motivated you, not just like to start, but to get like past the barrier of like expectation, because that's the thing I think I have the most problem with when starting like to learn instruments and stuff is because I want to create music that I like, but it's very hard in the start for me to like actually create something that I like listen to and be like, oh, that's like good, I actually like this, because I don't have the experience to really express myself how I want. So I think what motivated you, or like how you, how did you get through uh, this barrier of like expectation when starting making like everything from music to animating and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that is definitely one of the hardest parts. Is it sucks to be bad at something. It feels really bad to not be good at something. I do feel to learn new skills because of that. And I've had a lot of people asking me how to sort of start with things and get past that. And I guess there are a few methods. One of them is try to just go in with no expectations. Just sort of do it like you're doodling. I remember when I was little, I would cry in art class all the time because the drawing on the page never looked like what it looked like in my head, and I would beat myself up about it, and kind of just started not having any expectation of what it would look like in my head, uh, and kind of accepting that it'll look different to what you expect, and that's like actually a good thing, and that's part of the art, because like we can at this point pretty much generate whatever we want in our head. Like we can AI any song we want, any art piece, but it's not surprising. It's not like fun. It doesn't feel like you accomplish anything.
Yeah.
Um, like you got to sort of celebrate the fact that like whatever medium you work with will come with sort of uh, little imperfections or whatever, even big imperfections, and you got to just sort of embrace that.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and work it as part of your style. I think a lot of art, when I was learning art online or whatever, through all the tutorials, it was all very much like everyone was saying like, oh, do your studies, learn anatomy, do all this. You got to learn how to you got to learn the rules before you break them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is a sad way to learn, because it's like it makes you feel inadequate, and you got to enjoy what you're making while you're making it. That's like the best way of learning. And also just like maybe like lower your standards, like listen to more independent stuff, watch more independent stuff, watch stuff that's like clearly easy to make. um there's a lot of great stuff out there, and there's a lot of great independent music where it just kind of sounds like shit, but you get into it because you like the artist or something. um or I don't know, like sounds like shit traditionally, like maybe it's not mixed that well. Like just go on Bandcamp and listen to some songs. um yeah, I guess that's my advice for
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah, I think one thing you said about like all of this, like a lot of heavy stuff when trying to learn, that people like put on, like how you said, like about drawing and animating, like anatomy and stuff. I had this problem a lot with music theory, because like
Mm.
I have a couple of friends that are pretty good at music, and just like they can express themselves really easier than me. Um and one thing, when I've tried and kind of like have a hard time when trying to like play for them or whatever. I'll say, they always say like learn music theory, and stuff like that. Of course, I think that helps me with some stuff, and I think it's also important. But I think like the focus on that is one of the things that I think made me have difficulties to start with. So I think like I've noticed that just after you said that. So I think like you know that's a thing that. Like the trying to learn from just like one type of thing to follow, to learn a type of art, I think really creates a barrier, I guess, for people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I'm learning new things, I always sort of like to only ever learn like I'll taking something and then I'll Google, like if I'm struggling with a specific thing, I'll Google how to do that and kind of learn as I'm making something, instead of like studying a fuck ton and becoming a quote unquote master and then making something after, because that like it's not fun. I don't know, it's not how I learn.
Mhm.
um and yeah, I mean, I totally relate to that. I've been trying to learn guitar for years, and it sucks. I like hate it that there's like it's such a high skill ceiling to get your fingers to not be like little sausages. Like I want to be able to play that shit, but and it's like it looks good up on a stage for when you're performing, but I fucking hate it. I like hate playing the guitar, and so I keep putting it off and keep going like, nah, no. But I do want guitar to be in my songs.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know, but I'm with you on that. It sucks to suck at something.
Yeah. And I think another thing is said, when you like got into talking about like there's a lot of generative like AI in like art today. Not a lot, but there's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a thing you mentioned in Rise and Shine, the song on your new
Oh
album,
yeah.
right? Um,
Yeah.
and there's a question that I was gonna do a little bit later, but now got into the subject, which about generative AI. That do you think that it will be like a prolonged problem for people creating art, like not only about the like aspect of people that are trying to get jobs as artists, but also just like as what people see and accept as like um, not well made, but yeah, I guess well made, like
Mm.
quality, or just
Yeah.
uh,
I guess my opinion on this is sort of always changing because the technology is so
mhm,
rampant. But um, currently, I can see a future where all the big studios are just sort of using AI exclusively, and general audiences not really giving a fuck because they'll
mhm.
just sort of
Yeah,
get
because
used to it.
I was thinking about this, like, because
But
there was sorry to cut you
it's
off.
bleak. But yeah,
Uh,
no, yeah.
it's just like because here in Brazil there was like a long time ago, uh, just like after the changed political systems from monarchy to republic, there
Mm,
was a literature movement which was called, I don't know, I don't remember its name, but it was all about like how art should be made just for art, not to like reflect the day-to-day of people, because the movement that was really prevalent at the time was realism. So it was like, depicting
mm.
the day-to-day suffering, the problems with society. So, and it was like just create art for art and for its beauty. It was a really elitist movement, just like from all the rich
I'm really
people.
sorry to cut you off. I just spilt a bunch of water all
Oh,
over my
okay.
keyboard. I'm gonna be right back. I just gotta get a
Okay,
tissue.
it's fine.
Headphones are back on. I'm just wiping it up. Sorry, continue. You
Hmm.
were talking about realism and
Yeah, it's
was
okay.
this in is this in Brazil like it was massive
Yeah,
there?
it was like
Yeah.
this movement in Brazil.
Yeah.
And so there's after realism that there was this movement, which was just about like creating art for beauty, and not and say like, art doesn't need to be this thing that like criticizes society and depicts the day. It just needs just to be like art for the beauty of it. And it was
Mm.
just rich people doing like some weird shit, and it was very short. So I kind of think like I think of that like as an epiphany. Like it was a really random thing that it just like was this movement. It didn't even last that long, about just like rich people doing that stuff, and then it went back to like other movements and aesthetics. So I was thinking about that, and I was like, is AI gonna be something like this? Like these big companies are gonna just use it a lot, but like no one will have interest in it, and it will just like fall short, and we will like stop using generative AI like in that much how we're using today. I was just thinking about that, so I would like to like sorry, I'd like to ask about this. Uh,
Yeah, totally. I
if
guess I don't know what like I can only really speculate, and I honestly don't like thinking about it too much because like the future is bleak enough as it is.
mhm,
And it's so kind of unknowable, and I don't
yeah,
like taking it into account too much while I'm working, like AI or whatever. I like to sort of create freely, um, and I get afraid sometimes of my stuff looking like AI or whatever. Specifically, like Blender has a denoising feature for like when your renders are too noisy. I like using that. If you render it at like a really low sample size, you get these like really like sort of brush stroke looking artifacts that are really beautiful. But they now kind of read as AI artifacts because it's technically some sort of like model or whatever that denoises it. I don't know. It's like pretty primitive compared to the stuff that we got, but I get nervous about using that sometimes because I'm scared people will think that it's AI. That my
mhm,
Blender stuff is AI. But that's probably a dumb way to think. Um, I don't know.
yeah. It's complicated, it's how I said, like the future's already bleak enough, it's
Yeah, yeah.
okay. So another thing, just completely unrelated to the AI stuff. Um, how much do you think, like, or do you know, like the local music scene affect your work? Like, not just local music scenes, like in the bands or stuff like that, or in the artists from your region, but also like from your country, like traditional music and stuff like that. Do you think you incorporate a lot of that, or do you take more inspiration from foreign works?
Yeah, I guess I'm not super inspired by a lot of. I don't go out much, so I don't consume a ton of indie bands here in Cape Town, South Africa. I've been wanting to go more, but I'm not super part of any scene here. And I don't know. I know piano music is very big, but I don't know much about
Hmm.
any sort of South African stuff. There's a genre called kom, which is like a isikosa dance thing that like bams the kick drum a ton that I'm interested in, but I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. And I've like sampled. There's like songs that I hear on the radio and stuff, but I'm for the most part very inspired by the internet. I'm like an internet girly. I don't. I'm animating. I don't have time to go outside.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Okay. I was just curious about that because I think there's a lot of different sounds like in your work. So I was just like
Mm.
to know like if that comes from just like stuff on the internet, or if that comes like from just inspired by where you live, you know. Uh, but all right.
Yeah, it's mostly internet stuff.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I'm trying to get more immersed in the current scene, but I don't. I get scared going out. I'm an anxious person. I'm transgender. I don't want them to yell at me.
Yeah, fair. Um, I think another question about inspiration is does like your work sorry, is your work really like a factor inspired by past like cultures of like when you were younger, because like other aesthetics like the 2000 like Futura Aero and stuff like that, you know,
Mm.
because that was a really big part of when I was younger. And like in Popocalypse, there's a lot of reference, like not a lot, but there's reference to like the Wii, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just like how much or how if it does a lot, you know, like culture from older times when you were younger affects your stuff.
Yeah. Nostalgia is a very powerful thing. I really like working off of nostalgia. I totally do. I use a lot of old samples from early internet stuff, just kind of stuff that I've been surrounded with. And I don't know, I think things that are even a little stupid take on this beautiful quality to them when they get old enough and they like these like dumb memes that stay with you throughout your whole life are like painted with a sort of nostalgic texture. The rose tinted goggles, those are some cool goggles. And uh, it, like yeah, yeah, I love the Wii in specific. Like even I played a ton of Wii growing up, but even just like wise, I love how the games look and everything.
Yeah.
And I've been playing a lot of Wii recently. It's a lot of stuff that I'm currently interested in that I work into my work. Uh, but I also like I feel like I want to be creating for people our age at this time, and so we've got like a pretty specific set of things that we're nostalgic about. Um, like the bloop is another thing that's
Yeah,
part of
yeah.
Apocalypse. Yeah, and it's like sort of it's a cryptid that's kind of like it's a YouTube thumbnail click cryptid. Like there's no lore about it anywhere. It just comes from YouTube thumbnails of like grifters or some shit. So I was like, oh, this is ripe for the taking. I'm gonna take the bloop. No one's written about this thing really. It's like, and I'm sort of nostalgic about like real or fake videos on YouTube, like top 10 lists,
Yeah.
and shit. Uh, and I want to sort of speak a language that people my age can get. Because I'm not cool enough to be making for older people. I'd rather be making, cartoons work well for younger people. I'm like aiming it at people our age and younger. I definitely want to be a voice that young, specifically queer kids, can sort of
Hmm.
be inspired by.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think you know that. I mean, I think just my experience with your work uh, says a lot about how it's really you really achieved this, you know,
no.
because I guess I am that demographic. And it really, I think exactly those things are what like specifically in Apocalypse, what makes I like it so much. It's just this stuff that I grew up with, really specific stuff that I have really nice memories with. The bloop is a perfect example, I think, of that. So I think
Yeah.
you really achieve this like demographic which you intend with your stuff.
Aw, thank you. That's sweet. Good to know that I'm reaching people.
um,
That's another thing. I've been wanting to reach more people with Popocalypse, so I've been on the fucking shorts grind or whatever, posting all the short form content. Because it annoys me knowing that there's people that want to see my work that aren't getting it.
oh yeah.
So it's like I've sort of just had to play to the algorithm lately. I've been posting a ton of short form stuff, which I don't like doing really, but people like them and stuff, and um, it's gotten me a lot of power or whatever, like a lot of opportunities. I've gotten some commissions from it. Since more eyes are on my work, I'm about to hit 50,000 on Instagram, which is crazy
Yo,
because I've been small for ages. It's weird. Sorry, that was just a tangent.
no, it's perfect. I think I don't have a lot prepared for this, so the more like just going off on stuff is better,
But that's
Uh,
good because I can fucking ramble.
yeah, no, that's that I think the point of this interview.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I've heard this from a lot of creators I really like. Exactly like this type of stuff. Like they kind of need to play on to like short form content and such, even though they don't like it. And I think if I a lot of times try to not really that much, but I've tried to like try streaming or trying to actually make like a little bit more like thought out YouTube content, but I never really got into it, and I think that's a thing that I holds me back nowadays to do like to really go into it, because I don't want to do short form content, and it's something that is becoming more and more like really not necessary but important, and I think it's
Yeah,
something
I
that
think it's pretty necessary. But
yeah.
it's also it's great. There was like I was obviously uploading stuff before short form content for the longest time, and I will say like, the ickiness of it gets outweighed by the share. I'm really appreciative that my stuff has been able to reach wider audience. Like I'm sure you found me off of my shorts, right? Like
I think I
is that
found
the
you
case or
off out
like
of
Instagram Reels
no,
or
it was from Twitter. I found like
oh okay.
yeah, it was like a little thing you posted, and then I watched your movie, your latest movie, and then I just like really got into your stuff.
Okay, shit. So okay, well then, yeah, you're an exception. But like, yeah, there's pros and cons. But I'm glad that I've been able to have this sort of hack of blowing up because
Mhm.
I've got all this work that I can post clips of. And the thing is, like, the way I thought about it was like I would be overjoyed if someone posted like a clip of Popocalypse and went like, "Oh, this is so weird." Like that's kind of the goal.
Mhm.
But I want it to be that. And then I realized like, oh, I can just post the clip. I can be like the Family Guy compilation. Um, and I saw my friend Molbat was doing some like making of reels where she sort of explained part of her process, and I was like, oh, I want to do that, and those put me on the map. But yeah, I think that it's important for people now more than ever to know how art is made and to have that like behind the scenes knowledge because of all the generative AI stuff. And also just like I think people were more aware of it when DVDs were huge. Like all those had like behind the scenes things on them where you could get a little documentary about how something was made on the DVD. I
Mhm.
used to watch those like all the fucking time when I was little.
Yeah, I think this
Um,
like I think one of the main
yeah.
like reasons why I want to do this interview, because I think there's like a lot of stuff like that that just I'm really curious about like how artists I really like do their stuff, and create their art, and because I think I don't know, it's interesting to know, and I think it's important to know how I say like about how art is made nowadays, and I
Yeah.
think I really want to put like a shine on that. I think that's why I made this interview.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. And I think a lot of artists do want to share their thoughts and stuff. I think a lot of us spend a lot of time in our own heads, uh, and have specific ways of thinking about things that I at least want to share. I can't speak for all artists; that would be insane. Um, but I've been there's been a gap of like animator interviews. I love watching. I was watching an interview before getting on this with Simon Hanselman, who wrote Megan Maughan. He's a Tasmanian comic author. But I need background noise all the time while I'm animating, and I watch a lot of interviews, and I'm always annoyed when there's not many interviews.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry. It's exactly that, for me. I also really like to put stuff when I'm doing other stuff. I'm writing like kind of like a book, something.
Oh damn.
It's actually not like a book, like a novel or something. It's like for RPGs and stuff.
Oh cool.
And I think besides from music, hearing like interviews and stuff about artists I like is one of the things I do the most. And really really small artists, like there's a band I really really enjoy. I think maybe my favorite band is from like the northern Brazil. It's called Papangu, and it's kind of like this prog rock metal crazy thing. Just a second, my cat is wanting to enter my room.
Cute.
Yeah, I opened the door and she just ran. So so it's like this really crazy thing, which also mixes like things from the culture of northern Brazil into its music. And there's like no interviews I found with them, and
Yeah.
so like it's a really a shame, because it's like one of my favorite like songs and stuff ever, and there's like nothing because they're small.
Yeah, it's sad. I hope that you should so reach out to interview them or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
I would love doing that, but they're on tour right now, so.
Damn. Well, yeah. Yeah, I love interviews.
So here's like a question which is more personal, honestly, not for you but for me, because not personal, like just like I want to do this question. I think like it's a question that it's really important to anything. It's just I was really curious about this. I really love the design of Limpet, and I wanted to know like what inspired you with to her design, to make her design.
Yeah. Her design, out of all the people in the Popocalypse, she was the one that I really struggled to get down. Because I knew that she would be the main character, and I had like written parts of Popocalypse for the longest time. I sort of very clearly modeled her after myself in the end, because I wanted her to be a sort of self-insert just for the sake of like ease of writing, and also just I know myself best, like, and since I wanted it to be a thing for other trans kids, like her being a trans woman kind of values that, and I didn't want to make her overly effeminate or anything. She's got the skirt, but I don't draw her with like eyelashes or anything. I think that it's a lot of things, like no shade to I love eyelashes. I draw eyelashes all the time, but I think there's a sort of want in a lot of trans designs to make them super overly effeminate, and I want something that looks a little more maybe like me and trans women that I know or whatever. And I love the beach, so I got the beach sort of encapsulated into her design. It was very much sort of inspired by this time my friends and I went out to the beach together, and I had an incredible time and felt so in my own skin and everything. It was like my birthday and shit, and I was like, wow, I feel like me.
That's nice.
Yeah, and so yeah, I put her in the big skirt because the skirt looks cool. The barnacles on her arm, that was a sort of thing where I thought it would look interesting. First off, I wanted her to have more detail to her. Like, I didn't just want her to be like plain everywhere, just like shirt and stuff. I wanted her to have some detail on her, and the barnacles kind of represent like, I don't know, pimples or some shit. Honestly, like skin stuff, or because like I don't know, I got some stuff on my arm, like I think everyone does, and um, just a fun way of representing those sort of quote unquote imperfections. Um, like I love barnacles. I think they're beautiful. I love limpets, which are also a sea thing, and she's got like limpets in her hair. Her hair, she was actually inspired by like rocks and rock pools in general. Like her skin was originally more gray, and then her hair is supposed to be like moss, and then like the flower star things, those are like flowers. Um, so she's sort of like a rock pool creature. Um, yeah, and I love her with all my heart. And it took ages to get her design. I've posted some of her early designs on my Patreon, and I think on my story as well, WhatsApp story. If you look at the like Popocalypse thing, you can see some of the early designs, but that's not even all of them. I was really taking my time with that one. I was so frustrated, like pulling my hair out and shit. Like, she doesn't look good. And she was also going to be a lot skinnier at first, and then I was like, oh, like the main characters are like, it's, I don't know, sort of a bit of a trope to have like fat friend, skinny main character and stuff. Like, that's all cartoons, and I wanted her to be shy, and I think a lot of the time shy characters are very kind of small or whatever to represent their shyness. But I wanted to kind of play off that awkwardness of being a tall, sort of bigger girl, but still having social anxiety, because there's some funny stuff there and some unique character acting that you can get out of that. It's built off of my experience, I guess. And it's very therapeutic is another reason. Like, it's interesting having a character that's so heavily based off myself. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of really cool insight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks for that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so now more into like the artsy question stuff. How would you describe like the whole concept, or like the whole theming, or just the album in itself, your latest album, Super Embarrassing Giant Robot?
Yeah.
Like, even though the songs make it kind of clear a lot of its themes, and stuff, I still would really like some insight on what like this album means to you, and just what it is.
Yeah, Super Embarrassing Giant Robot is my latest album, and all of my previous albums, they usually, I made 3 albums kind of in the same way, with the same workflow, maybe even like 4, honestly, and they all sort of took place over like the span of a year. Like, I made them over the span of a year, and would like tweak all the songs at once, and like not finish any of them until like the last month, and then I would like wrap them all up and finish them up. And I was kind of tired of hating the songs by the time I got to the end of the album. So with Super Embarrassing Giant Robot, I kind of thought of it more as like a collection of demos or whatever. Like, they're all pretty okay. I wanted it to be just a lot more raw than Locust World, especially Locust World was my previous album was super synthetic and took so much time in the mixing. I got like a headache. It like turned me away from even wanting to listen to music. Just and I didn't want that to happen again. I wanted to sort of just make something a lot simpler and a lot more raw. And I like it a lot more because of that. Like, I listen to it all the time. So that's the idea behind like the creation of the album. But I guess themes wise, a lot of the sounds that I used ended up being very metallic and synthy, a lot of wobbly synths, and I thought that sounded like a robot to me, and the drums sound very robot-y. And the super embarrassing part of it is just because they were such rough songs by my metric that I was like, it's pretty embarrassing, but I don't know. Gotta just put them out. And most people, they don't even care. They, like, a lot of people can't even tell that it was like made way faster than all the other ones. So it's like, if people aren't gonna see the extra effort that I put in, it's not worth it, I guess, or at least not at this point in time for me. I was very excited to put it out. I'm very happy that it's out. um, yeah, it's got some introspective, fun lyrics in there. Yeah.
One thing is you like said now about being happy you put it out and everything. Um, this remind me of something. It has like it is there's like a Brazilian musician which I really like. He's an independent artist. And one time I don't know if it was an interview or just like some content he did with his friend. He was
Mm.
talking about his perspective on success, and for him it was just being to able to release what like his art proudly, and I think that's really interesting. And like Jess, for you, what really defines like the success in your work?
Mm. Uh, I think currently it's way too tied to like what other people think. Like, just the way I currently define success, it's like in my mind, Lolo Locust World is a bit of a flop. The previous album, just because no one really listened to it. Um, it didn't really, and I think I probably thought about it differently if it got more ears on it. I was posting about it today actually to try and get some more ears on it. Um, but it's a pretty hard listen, I guess. Um, and yeah, my current metric of success is a bit skewed to what other people think. Um, but it's also like a lot of the time it's like how fast I make something. Like if I make I can get pretty tired of a thing if I spend too long. Like the current episode of Apocalypse, I've been working on it for ages, and I'm like, ugh. Like I've been so the past 2 days I've been like I do not want to do this, and I've just had to sit my ass down and grind it out. Because it's a lot of complicated character acting. But yeah, I guess I don't. I try not to think about whether things are like successes or not. Um, I think I value everything as a learning experience, and I know that it's good for the portfolio. It's better to put something out than to keep it. And when you do put something out that you think is unfinished, I don't think you should like let people know that, because most of the time people won't really notice and they won't care. Like you can just do some sort of artsy spin on it, like oh, it's some sort of twist, there's no ending, ha ha ha. Like I don't know, that's one thing where it's like I see people putting stuff out and then they're like, oh, super rough, unfinished, like cancelled project, and it's like, no, this is a finished animation, this is a finished song. Just like, people put out rough shit all the time. Mac DeMarco put out a full album that's just fucking like noodling on the guitar or whatever. If he's allowed to put that shit out, then you can put anything you want up there, like up on wherever.
Yeah.
No shade to Mac DeMarco. There's...
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off. You can go on.
Oh no, it's done.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I just wanna. 1 sec. I'm really warm in here. I'm gonna.
Okay.
Be right back. Sorry, I had a heater on.
No, yeah, it's fine.
I had to turn it off. I'd really love to do more stop motion practical stuff. Like the only thing that holds me back from that is just how messy and expensive it is. Like on the computer, everything's free. Like I can animate stuff, and it's like I got this nice computer, I might as well use it. But I would really want to do more stop motion stuff. That's something that I'm very interested in, and more practical effects in general. That's another reason why I would want to go to school, is to get the resources for that kind of stuff without having to like turn my room into a disgusting clay build thing. It's like it takes up a lot of space. It's a big thing. So yeah, stop motion is something I would really want to try more.
No, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And
also liquid light shows. Sorry, that's another thing I want to do with like the oils and the like projector underneath it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like a 70s. Yeah, that's something that's easier to do that I've been wanting to do just for fun, because I do a lot of visuals for my live shows that I do, and I would like to sort of pre-record some of that to put up on a screen. 'cause I think it could be fun.
Oh, that's really cool. Um, from the stuff you've made in the past, we just talked about like this success thing and like what is like just something you've made like in general. Just a second.
I hear that cat.
Yeah.
I got a cat too. I know how it is.
She wants to go to the bathroom. Just a second. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm playing with a fidget spinner while Tartaruga is away.
Okay, I'm back.
I hope you're. Hell yeah.
What was I saying? Yeah, just something you're just proud of doing. Like anything, like maybe a specific episode of Apocalypse or just anything really.
I think one. I mean, Top Pop Apocalypse is a very proud achievement, especially episode 3. Um, but the thing that I'm probably proudest of is the feature film that I made called The Ghost of Winter Cape. It's an hour and 14 minutes that it took 2 years to make, and I made that with my friends. It was so fun to make, but also it was like a grueling thing to get done because I'm doing all the animation, most of the music, all the editing and stuff. They wrote a lot of it, but it was incredible that we got it done, and we've screened it twice now. Once in Chicago, once in Cape Town.
I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was really fun and cool, and that's definitely one of. I want more people to watch that. If they're listening and haven't seen it, it's like also it's like the third film in a trilogy of films that I made with them. And those films were like where I really kind of changed what I was doing before and moved into stuff that's more artistic and narratively driven, because before then I was making a lot of just sort of like YouTuber-y style animation content where it's like a talking head talking at you about stuff. Like it was all animated, sort of Odd Ones Out style or something. I would like animate people's comments. I was very young, but I really felt like I found my footing with that film series that ended up in The Ghost of Winter Cape. So yeah, I'm proud of that one.
Ghost of Winter Cape. I guess it was what introduced me to you, because the thing I remember now, the thing I saw on Twitter that like made me like, oh, this art is really cool, let me check it out, was I think the intro of Ghost of Winter Cape. And then I went on and watched it, and I enjoyed it. I really, really like it. And I've been trying to get my friends to watch it because I have a couple of friends that were in a band, and like I'm trying to get them to watch it.
Sweet.
Yeah, but
I do like hearing about people. I get like messages or like comments from people saying like, oh, my friends and I did a movie night and we all sat on the couch and watched it together, which is really sweet. I think it didn't get many views, or it's now at 6,000 views, which is not bad at all. But I really like that it's like it's a fucking movie. Like the viewing environment, like most people don't want to go on YouTube and watch a movie. They're looking for videos. So it's a unique thing to have up there, but I'm really glad that I made it. I was a bit kind of sad about it not being received as like it was 2 years of work, and then I put it up and it got some traction, but I thought it would like get me jobs with Adult Swim or some shit, which was high hopes. I mean, I haven't reached out to Adult Swim or anything, but Popocalypse has really been what's put me on the map, and shorts and stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely very proud of that movie, and I'm proud of the kind of like it can bring movies bring people together, which is lovely. It's like lovely that I'll be able to just screen that whenever, and like probably also make some money off of charging for tickets and stuff, if depending on the venue, which is also I'm trying to figure out ways of actually like monetizing all this shit now that I'm like an adult. But Yeah, I'm proudest of that movie, Ghost
Mm.
of Winter Cape. It was very fun to make, very nostalgic because we were like 16 when we started it, and we were 18 by the end. Um, you can see like our physicalities change throughout it. It's fun.
um, just another like random thing that it kind of remind me of. Like Ghost of Winter Cape, when I started watching, I think one of the things that really made like, oh, this is really cool, is that it reminds me a lot of the Mother series. I don't know if you know about it, like Earthbound and
Mm.
stuff like that. It reminds me a lot of that, and I'm a really big fan. So there's like more surreal, kind of like just really strange stuff, but it's really cool. Um, it reminds me a
Yeah,
lot of
I
that.
really I want to play them other games. I don't play enough games, and I especially don't play RPGs. I love Undertale and Deltarune. I think it's like a sort of drip down inspiration from that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but we were also very inspired by Zelda. Leo really loved Zelda while writing the films, and Leo has played a lot of the other games, so
Mm,
I think he draws from that too.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's funny. We've all sort of got our own things that we pull from. I'm a lot of internet stuff and video games, and Leo's also that. And then like Jethro loves fucking Star Wars and stuff. Jethro's like a cinema guy, so we pull from all these different hats, which is fun.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, I want to play Mother. I haven't the Mother series. I like it. I like them in Smash. I like the Subspace Emissary,
Oh my god, so
Smash
Space
Brawl
Emissary. I love
campaign.
that thing so
Yeah,
much.
yeah. I like the part with Lucas. Always used to freak me out. Lucas and Forky. Um, that's one of my all-time fave games, Smash Brawl. Like
Yeah.
especially art style wise, it like looks incredible. And Subspace Emissary is like incredibly underrated, and it just looks amazing. Like
Yeah.
if I could make an animation that has that sort of, I love the like bright colors with the like dirty, filthy grit. It's like
Yeah.
a really unique, over detailed look. It's like it feels more vibrant and detailed in the real world because of how contrasted all the textures are.
Yeah.
Um,
I have a lot of really nice memories with Subspace Emissary. It's such a good game, and
yeah,
like a mode on the game, but
yeah,
yeah. I think a lot of stuff I've been writing with music is very inspired, not exactly by Subspace Emissary, but by nostalgia with
mm.
like this era of stuff. That's what inspired the question of like if like old stuff from your childhood or when you're younger, uh, you know, my cat is fighting me. I'm sorry. Uh,
I know Frost Children, the like band from the US. It's like a sibling duo that make like hyperpop type stuff. They have a song that like samples and interpolates the Brawl theme called
oh.
Serpent,
Mhm.
which is really fun and funny. When I heard it, I like double took. I was like, wait, that's not the Brawl theme, is it? And it is. It's very. It's a funny listen. Serpent by Frost Children.
Mhm.
Any listeners?
Oh yeah,
Mm,
I'm gonna take a listen after this.
yeah.
Yeah, Parashell. Sorry, my cat is still biting me. Uh,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I cut you off. You were talking about writing from nostalgia in your music.
yeah, no, but just added to it. It's just like I was just gonna say that I use a lot of nostalgia. I grew up in like uh, um, sometimes like in a more urban city, but like really a lot of the time in my childhood I spent in like a beach house of my grandmother. It
Mm,
was in this like little really small town, um,
mm,
and a lot of inspiration for the things I write. Mostly about like when I want to write about like fear of future and anxiousness about technology being way too comfortable, and like we just get way too comfortable with technology. It all like when like think of like the actual music in my head, it's always like this beige color and like
mm.
greens, really light greens, which reminds me of like this nostalgia stuff, which reminds me of like we and these old
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
from my childhood. Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, so I think uh, it's very interesting to hear about like all of this like using nostalgia to create, you know, music and to create. Uh,
Yeah, it's powerful. It like kind of grabs and gets them to connect pretty quick. It's like a cheat code. It's probably a little cheap even, but I don't believe in cheapness in art.
yeah.
Uh, I think the bar is pretty low as well. Like as far as art goes, like I can be a little cheap. Like I can have my Wii references in my cartoon. You can do your AI cat videos. We can both coexist on the Instagram Reels platform. I'm not talking to you specifically. I'm talking to
Yeah, yeah.
whoever generates the fucking AI cats. But yeah, I love nostalgia. Fraxiom, the musician, is also someone who plays on that a lot. Um, uh, and I was inspired by them or whatever. But also like embracing current technology as fire or whatever, because all the stuff that's like current now will be nostalgic in the future. So I think it's like we shouldn't be just trying to go back to the past. We should be like mixing techniques from the past with current technology to create something better. Like, you know, I say that a lot of my stuff is like inspired by Wii games and stuff, but it doesn't look like Wii games. I'm just like the DNA is still in there though, because I like sort of look in I like look into maps from Wii games and stuff and like learn techniques of how they optimize stuff. And so I think that is one thing that's important about being nostalgic. It's like we're not trying to go back here. We're trying to bring the past into the better future that we live in.
Yeah,
As
no.
far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that it's not like things were better back then. Like the early 2000s was still a disgusting time for a lot of people, and it's bad now too.
Yeah,
but-
no, totally. I mean, like, I totally agree with that. You know, I think it's very important, like, because I felt a very big fear of mine is not only about art, but like in general, but mostly about art, is that we get really comfortable with like really like easy tools, not like things that like you know, may help you or stuff, like things just like make everything way much easier, like just a number, you know, brings like mostly to create art. And even though like some things are just kind of, yeah, it's whatever, there are things like I think really takes a little bit away from, you know, creating stuff, and just not only creating stuff, but I think takes away like from sometimes the like the passion of creating stuff, because it's easier and stuff. So I think like not just going, oh, you know, so in the past it was so much better, you know, there was not
Yeah.
some stuff that like we use now and it was all better. No, but I think there are a lot of really
Yeah.
cool things that we can take from that time, you know, that
Yeah.
makes
I mean, first off, render times alone back then. Like,
yeah.
how long it would take to make everything, Jesus. Like, we should not be trying to go back.
Yeah.
That's like something that should be stressed.
No, it's just really, you know,
Yeah.
not like regress, but to learn from the past,
Yeah.
you know. And
Yeah, because a lot of stuff gets lost. Like, I think the art direction of a lot of older games was a lot more intentional because they had to optimize it. And they didn't have to worry about as much like graphical stuff. They could like really get in, like everything felt a little more handmade in like that era of games. I'm also very biased because I grew up with that. But a lot of current games that I see, since it's all got like the real-time ray traced lighting and everything, it just all looks a lot more realistic, sure, but like not as handcrafted. Even though it's still like it's a billion hands working on it. It's like the amount, that's a whole different world of video games is insane. It's like super unsustainable the way that we're making them with like, HD consoles and everything. Like,
yeah, it's
not even for the
terrible.
earth, but just for like people.
Yeah, no,
like,
it's really
yeah,
crazy.
like they should be charged for way more, but I don't want to pay $100 for a game. Like, so how do we fix that?
Yeah, no.
I don't know, make games with worse graphics or some shit. I don't know. But
you know, I think I mean, of course, I think a lot of things on this, like, yeah, we like there's a lot of recent games that just like don't care about optimizing stuff because, you know, it's not as important as it used to be.
Yeah.
And definitely that would cut a lot of things like to work on. But I think like also just like, you know, it's billionaire companies, you know, I think
Yeah.
it's just like be a little just more fair to your workers, and it will help a lot.
Yeah,
But
totally.
I think
Yeah.
one of the things that you said it before in the interview, of like imperfection and stuff on games and or animation and or and music, and I think I think it's what really maybe is the thing that I feel like is kind of missing, because I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that I just it just felt really intentional, and it was like these little
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
that that.
I mean, like for instance, like if you wanted to do like rays of light on the Wii, like rays of light coming down from trees, you would have to like put that on a physical like plane, like a transparent plane of
Mhm.
like a texture that's like rays of light or something, or like any sort of visual effect. It was like textures on a plane. Whereas now, a ray of light, it's just sort of it rendered through like volumetrics in a graphical engine, and so there can be rays of light everywhere, and it looks a lot better and more realistic. But it's maybe less. You get less control over it. You're not like placing a physical plane down that says put lights here. You're just sort. I don't know. I don't know enough about game development to be speaking about it like I am. There's probably someone out there listening that's like pulling out all their skin, saying like that's not how it works.
Yeah,
But
I'm also saying just from experience because I have no idea any of the thing that works.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but I think it's a lot about like the art doesn't like need, of course, like to be this very difficult thing that you need to study a lot to make or whatever. But I think, but I think like having like these things you need to overcome when creating stuff, really, I think you know puts a lot of character into the art,
mm,
which may come in those imperfections or such. And I think in games it was like this hard things that they need to go like to like go over in development, that really makes some aesthetics that were just like not intentional. I think
yeah,
there's a lot of it like in the textures of Pikmin, which I really like, and
yeah.
is
I love
all.
how Pikmin looks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And other games from even older like than the Wii, and I
yeah, like
think.
GameCube.
Yeah, exactly.
GameCube and Wii are pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Like they got the same processing power. It's like a Wii is just a souped up GameCube with motion controls.
hmm
Uh,
And I think that those things are really interesting to look now and see
yeah,
art.
and of course, people in the future they're gonna be looking back on the PS4 stuff and saying like, "Wow, this is different and cool, and like this is so different to what we have." Like, I think it is, like, I guess I'm not saying that like what was on the Wii and stuff was better. It's more so that just like that's what's interesting to me because of my nostalgic bias,
Yeah, yeah,
and I'm gonna try and bring some of that knowledge that maybe isn't used as much these days, and bring it back and get some unique looks out of it,
yeah,
just
yeah.
specifically for 3D graphics. And I don't know, Kirby's Air Ride is another one that looks phenomenal. It's basically got the same art style as Smash Brawl.
Mhm.
Um,
Um,
yeah,
yeah.
this is a gamer podcast.
Gamer podcast. Yeah, no, totally. I think so. Learning from all of learning from all of those like hardships in development,
Yeah,
it's really nice. I think it really helps you, create some really different stuff, and um,
yeah,
sometimes I just said like it doesn't feel as handcrafted, and I think that it's because of like there's a lot of tools that just like take off some stuff that I think it's important to art, and talking about like difficulty, because I think of course I want art to be accessible, but I think there's a very cool thing of art of you needing to put effort and like passion into it, and like just I think there's some tools out there nowadays that cut a lot of that, and I think that's what makes it not be as handcrafted as it used to be. But it's fine.
mm,
It doesn't like really um, uh, like how can I say this? It doesn't really affect so much, like because I choose not to play those things and whatever, not to listen to music that I think, um, you know, like AI music, for example, and stuff like that. But you know, I think there's bad things that could come out of it, but it's kind of whatever. Sometimes it's just people like making uh, stuff that can be a little bit easier.
Yeah, it is. The thing about AI music and AI art is like another reason that brings it down for me personally is just how uninteresting it is. Like you can't listen to it and think like, oh, where are they getting these influences from?
Yeah,
Oh, what?
exactly.
Why would they write that? Like once you actually want to start like interacting with the work, it falls apart. Like thinking about it, because it's like, oh, the answer to all of it is like, there is no answer. A machine did it. Like any question that you have, it's just like, sure, you could look into like where the machine draws stuff from, but that's like, am I gonna look into like where Google gets its data for? It's not like Google gets its data for like a search result. It's not like, it's not this. It doesn't feel like art. It's not what art is to me, where it's like, the human expression
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
Like, um, it's a zombie. It's a husk.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's really. It just no. There's no like a lot of depth to that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I think that's what I've been trying to say. I think the more depth you put into something, it's just the more passion you put into something. And I think that's like what AI it really just really falls apart for me. That because it's there's nothing I guess to be found there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's kind of all of the questions I really would like to ask you and stuff. And I'm really, really, really grateful that you took time out of your day to come answer my stuff and talk about the Wii or whatever. And
Yeah.
so yeah.
I'm grateful that you gave me the floor. Gave me the floor to talk about all these dumb little interests of mine.
So yeah, it's kind of like an honor to like do this stuff. So yeah, that's all I think. Is there anything like you want to say or what before I close off like and stop recording?
Yeah, I got a Patreon. I'm Bea Jumpup. You can find my music on Spotify. It's all under Bea Jumpup. And yeah, I'm trying to think of someone to shout out, but I can't. I'm so tired. I shout out Harrison and Parker for being a giant inspiration behind my work. I stole a bunch of their swag. Same with Joni Peppers, Vune, Victoria Vincent, Tim and Eric. I just like listing all my inspirations at the end because that's kind of important now, I guess. Get people to find the good stuff. That's pretty much it, though. Yeah, thank you for having me on.
So that's the interview. Thank you for watching. In the description of this video will be a couple of links of mine and her social media if you want to follow. And of course there'll be a link to her YouTube so you can go watch her movie and cartoon. But yeah, I guess that's it. Thanks for watching again. This is my first time really doing an interview of any kind really. So yeah, I hope it turned out well.